This week's pack is Bordeaux, a region that I absolutely love. Now, when most people think about Bordeaux, they think of the high-end, classified, gross, really expensive stuff. But with almost 300,000 acres planted, that can't be all that's there, and that's exactly what I'm gonna show you. 4 wines, 4 different styles of Bordeaux. Hopefully we're gonna give you some vocabulary so you know how to describe each of these wines and get what you really like out of the region. First up, a white Bordeaux. This wine is from Grande. It's a very famed region, gravelly soils, gravel. And here it's 70% Semillon and 30% Sauvignon Blanc. You're gonna get these earthy, gravelly kind of mineral flavors, but a roll around in your mouth texture. This wine may be unlike any wine you've ever had or any white wine you've ever had, and it's going to really show this stunning, affordable, underrated area and how the whites of Bordeaux are beautiful, great with seafood. Next, we're gonna look at a wine from the Côte de Bourg. Now, this is an incredibly old winemaking area that has a lot of family-owned chateau, a great value area. It's really our benchmark style of a Merlot-based Bordeaux, where you're going to get earth, you're going to get red fruit, you'll get some leather from the oak, but it really has a grounding. It's a really wonderful basic Bordeaux. Next up, this is my favorite of the pack. I love this wine. It may be my favorite of the year actually so far in this price point. It's a Côte de Franc. Now, Franc is an area that's very popular right now because it's right near Saint-Emilion, which is a famed area. Again, Merlot-based wine. So much earth, it's like digging your hand in organic earth and just smelling the dirt, which I love. You can really smell the terroir. Finally, a 2015, this example is a Bordeaux Superieur. I put it in here because it's almost more like a new world wine than an old world wine. A really warm vintage, tons of dark fruit, lots of really upfront alcohol and tannin acid, and it really is like a bridge between the old and new world because it does have that fruit, but then when you taste it, it tastes really earthy. So these 4 examples are going to take you on a tour of Bordeaux. You are going to love these wines. It's an excellent introduction to the flavors available. I know you'll love it. This wine is the Chateau de Franc Côte de Bordeaux Franc from 2012. Now, the Côte de Bordeaux Franc is on the eastern edge of Bordeaux, sort of near the Saint-Emilion appellation, which makes really very high-end Merlot-based wines. And it's only 8 miles from the Dordogne River. They grow mainly Merlot with Cabernet Franc, occasionally Cabernet Sauvignon, although it has a hard time getting ripe. These soils are kind of clay-based. It slopes, really great for Merlot, and you're gonna find the high quality in this wine and also the extent of terroir. So let's take a look at this wine. Sort of dark in color, although it's browning around the edges from the age. It's 5 years old, which is a great time to be drinking this wine. And let's give it a swirl and sniff. What you're gonna find is a balanced aroma of earth and fruit, although a lot more earth probably than fruit. It's sort of like running your hands through soil. There's a little bit of coffee ground in there. Dark flowers and balsam and sort of minerals and a little bit of decaying leaf, which I really love. That's that Cabernet Franc coming out. Let's take a sip. The acidity is so great on this wine. So underneath your tongue should be watering and watering. And there is that mouth-drying tannin in there, but all of it really comes together. Now, it is like decaying leaf, it is like cherry, but it is like dirt, and it has this autumn, fall-like note, dark flowers, all of that is there. And it's very well made, and it's an excellent example of how terroir shows itself in the wine, but it may take you a minute to get used to if you're not used to these earthy kinds of wines. So give it a chance, try it over a couple of hours or several nights, and you might like it a lot. And it's gonna be a great pairing with grilled eggplant, grilled meat, and also some mushroom-based sauces because of the earthiness in the wine. Fabulous wine, a great example of how terroir shows itself. This wine is the Chateau de Rivereau Grand Cuvee Côte de Bourg, and it's from 2012. Now, the Côte de Bourg is a really old winemaking area. It dates back to the 2nd century when the Romans came here and planted an ancestor of Cabernet. And ever since then, they've been making wine on hilly limestone soils right near the Atlantic Ocean and near the Gironde River. There's about 400 winemakers, 2/3 of them are family owned. These are independent chateaux. These are not big winemakers. And what you're gonna find is that this is fantastic for value Bordeaux. It has a classic character and it really is a little bit age-worthy. So let's take a look at what we have here. The wine is like a lot of Bordeaux. It is dark in the center, but it's going to have a little bit of a watery rim. That's from the Cabernet Sauvignon element here. And there's definitely, it's a Merlot-based wine, but it's got Cabernet Sauvignon. You'll usually see a watery rim there. It's not too dark. There's not really thick legs from the alcohol. 2012 was not an overly hot year. So let's take a smell. Oh my gosh, it smells like nature. It's earthy. It's got this dark flower, dried dirt, mineral, dried raspberry, dried cherry. It's really aromatic. It hops out of the glass at you. It screams that it's from somewhere. This is definitely not a fruit bomb. This is something that's from the earth. When you taste the wine, cherry and raspberry, pomegranate, and then that dirt, a little bit of green pepper, some leather. That's all in this wine. A little bit of mouth-drying tannin, nice mouth-watering acidity, a wonderful balance all the way around, a very medium-style wine. This is an awesome wine. There's a little bit of oak on it. Decant it for about 20 minutes, so you're gonna find that it's even better. This is a classic Bordeaux, a fantastic food wine. I know you're gonna love it. The Chateau Rousset Caillau is a fascinating wine. It's Bordeaux Superieur, which just means it's a percentage more of alcohol, so it has a fuller body than some of the regular Bordeaux appellated wines. So a typical Bordeaux is medium bodied, it's got earth, it's got some fruit, there's balanced tannin and acid. It's a very medium wine. It's not a full bodied wine at all, but very medium bodied. It has a grew in the ground quality. This wine is more like a bridge between the old world and the new world in the sense that it's got full black fruit like a new world wine, and 2015 is a great example of how vintage is going to completely change the wine. Let's look at the color, and this wine is a bit younger than the others, so it is going to have a darker color, but still this is almost black in the center. It's so dark you can't see your finger through it. A little bit of lightness around the rim, but nowhere near the other reds that we have here. And let's give it a swirl and a sniff. Gosh, I mean, you really don't smell any earth at all. It's blackberry, it's blueberry, it's black currant notes in the wine. This comes from a drought in June and July of 2015 in Bordeaux where you have really intense dark colored grapes. And then it wasn't until August there was some rain, and September there was a little bit of relief where you got a lot of ripeness on this wine, and that's what you're smelling here. Let's take a sip. Now here you'll get a glimpse of Bordeaux because the wine is a little bit more medium body than a New World wine. It does have a bit of earth. It has some thyme, but still that black fruit is very strong. It has tea-like notes also, some moderate tannin, nice acidity. You will need to decant this for about 15 minutes, but it is a nice wine. It's a bridge between the new world and the old world. Have this with grilled pork chops or lamb chops, steak with peppercorn. It really is a nice food wine, but a great bridge between new and old, and a great example of how vintage affects Bordeaux. The white Bordeaux of the pack is the 2015 Chateau Moulin de Clairac, and this wine is from Grande, which is an area that does make some really fabulous reds, but their whites are fantastic. They're made of a blend of Semillon, Sauvignon Blanc, and a grape called Muscadel, which is really not used that often. Semillon is round, it's waxy, it's full, it's got pear flavors. Sauvignon Blanc, you probably are a little bit more familiar with, some herbal aromatics, grassy, really good acidity, so they're an excellent blend together. Now, wines from Grande can age a really long time and they can be really expensive, but this is a great value. So let's take a look at what you can expect. If you look on a white sheet of paper, because you want to be able to see the pure color of the wine, you're going to see that it's kind of pear colored. It's a little bit darker. Semillon has little tight berries and the color definitely seeps into the wine. Give it a little bit of a swirl. There's not very high alcohol. You don't see really thick legs on the wine. And when you sniff it, you're gonna smell a ton of herbal aromatics. It smells like fresh thyme and herbs. It smells like pear and a little bit of fig and almost cheesy, like a brie cheese flavor, which I really like and I think is very characteristic of the wine, but the minerality definitely comes through. Let's take a taste. Now the thing that I love about this wine is that you get that Sauvignon Blanc character, the herbal grassiness, a little bit of a bite from the acidity. That roll around cheek coating quality is here from the Semillon. Long finish, nice acidity, mineral, herb, nice fruit flavors with acidity and a rich texture with caprese salad with brie cheese because it kind of tastes like that, or some sort of grilled herb fish. This is gonna be an awesome wine. I love Bordeaux, pretty obvious here. And I hope that you also enjoyed your look at these 4 outstanding wines. And I hope it proved to you that Bordeaux has a lot more to offer than just those really high-end Chateau. There's a world of great wines. Once you understand what you like and don't like in Bordeaux, you can really use these terms to describe it and get great value. There's some of the best values in the world out of this region. So when you know what to look for and where to look for it, you're gonna do fantastically well. I hope this gave you some confidence to drink Bordeaux more regularly. Please give us feedback and of course, check back on Mondays for the next available pack.